话我们上哈场。
Betrayed and broke, how Jiufu's collapse left 340,000 lenders in despair. China's unemployment rate is estimated to exceed 50%. Wealthy Chinese flock to Singapore amid visa exemption and political unease. %80 of dams in China's massive reservoirs are overdue. Scandal rocks Greenland Group. Employees claim forced stock buys, demand justice.
China's natural disasters will cause 100 million people to suffer and cause economic losses of 1.5 trillion yuan. Xpeng P7 caught fire at the charging station. Crowds of protesters in Hunan's Xi'an and Hubei's Yichang demand their rights. Over 70% of top Chinese university graduates opt for postgraduate studies amid job pressure. The CCP created a 100% fatal new coronavirus expert. The consequences will be serious.
How long has it been since you last took a plane? In 2023, the civil aviation industry lost 28.8 billion yuan. I am now publicly whistleblowing against Guangzhou Baiyun Airport Comprehensive Development Limited Company for owing me transportation fees amounting to 1.04 million yuan, which they have refused to pay back despite a court ruling in my favor.
您好，您乘坐的520号航班即将起飞。 没有登机的旅客，请您抓紧时间登机。
Betrayed and broke, how Jiufu's collapse left 340,000 lenders in despair. The plight of Jiufu's victims in the aftermath of its financial debacle has evolved into a poignant tale of betrayal, unfulfilled promises, and a relentless quest for justice. This financial turmoil began in August 2020, when Jiufu defaulted on repaying the principal and interest of its peer-to-peer, P2P, lending products, marking the onset of a financial collapse that affected approximately 340,000 lenders, with a total lending scale reaching 39 billion yuan. These were not conventional investment products, but rather P2P lending schemes where investors acted directly as lenders. By December of the same year, under the supervision of the Fangzhan Finance Task Force in Beijing, Jiufu publicly announced its exit from the P2P business, promising full repayment of the initial principal to its lenders, a pledge that failed to materialize as promised. In the initial month following the announcement, Jiufu made a token repayment at a ratio of 1/36 of the due amounts, but in the ensuing 35 months, no further repayments were made, leaving lenders in a dire financial predicament. One case is Mr. Mai from Guangzhou, who, along with his family, had invested a total of 500,000 yuan in Jiufu products around 2014. Initially receiving regular repayments, they were abruptly halted in August 2020 with Jiufu's financial collapse. The company's subsequent pledge to return the lender's principal monthly over 3 years came to naught, as lenders received only a single month's repayment with no subsequent action. The ordeal of Jiufu's victims was further compounded by retaliation against rights defenders, with some being arrested and detained by police under accusations of picking quarrels and provoking trouble. Such actions created an atmosphere of intimidation, significantly muting the efforts for rights protection. As Geofu's promise neared its 3-year deadline on December 8, 2023, without any subsequent repayment or explanations, distressed lenders once again rallied to Beijing, seeking recourse from Geofu's company, the Fangshan Finance Task Force, and the Beijing Petition Department. During these attempts, lenders faced warnings from local police not to proceed to Beijing, and at the entrance and exit of the Beijing Petition Department, individuals were specifically assigned to intercept Geofu's lenders, further showcasing the challenges faced by victims in their pursuit of justice. The victims' letter to Hong Kong's financial authorities encapsulates their grievances, highlighting Geofu's failure to honor its repayment promise over 3 years, thus affecting 340,000 people with no single penny repaid. They passionately appeal to Hong Kong compatriots not to provide refuge to those they deem responsible for defrauding countless individuals, urging the territory to uphold justice for the mainland victims. China's unemployment rate is estimated to exceed 50%. China is experiencing an economic recession, with factories and stores closing down across various regions, leading to widespread unemployment. It is estimated by some members of the public that the unemployment rate has exceeded 50%, with many people remaining idle at home for long periods. Some citizens have expressed that merely surviving is considered fortunate under these circumstances. A resident of Anhui, Zhang Len, pseudonym, told NTD-TV on January 24 that after losing his job in Beijing, he worked as a ride-hailing driver for a while last year. Due to a lack of work, he found himself unemployed again. He mentioned that many who migrated to Beijing for work resorted to ride-hailing or food delivery after losing their jobs. However, with fewer people going out and ordering delivery, many without work have returned to their hometowns. Zhang Len stated, "Many places have closed down, and there are no jobs. Like myself, I'm unemployed, and many people are unemployed with nothing to do. The economic situation is definitely not good, and many have defaulted on their payments. A lot of people can't survive anymore. Now there are significantly fewer people around. It used to be severely congested, and it was impossible to get on buses or the subway because of the crowds. Now, there are fewer people, with many dying or having left, not wanting to stay here anymore." 2 residents from Shanxi, who previously worked away from their hometown, have also remained idle at home long-term due to being unable to find employment. Ms. Gua from Shanxi said, "Jobs are hard to find. Many people and business owners have gone back to their hometowns. Then, I've been having chest pains and got sick, so I've been out of work and have had to borrow money from others." Mr. Li, a farmer from Shanxi, mentioned, "One person doesn't even have 1 mu, about 0.16 acre, of land, which is enough for food but definitely not enough to earn money. I haven't had a job, and I've been resting for more than 2 years because I can't find work." Mr. Yang, a resident of Jiangsu, reported that many electronic factories in the area, mostly small ones, have closed down over the last year. Restaurants and shops have been affected, leading to widespread unemployment. Many factories around us have shut down. After November, there's basically no one around, with about 60 to 70% of people being unemployed. They have to find ways to make a living, like setting up street stalls, but the cost of goods keeps rising. What people would usually spend 10 yuan on now costs half as much or even less. Several citizens from Guangzhou also stated that many local factories have closed down, including many retail stores and supermarkets. Most shops inside big malls and streetside have withdrawn their leases, with more people setting up street stalls to make small trades, although they face strict enforcement from city management. One citizen estimated the unemployment rate to be over 50%. Mr. Li from Guangzhou said, "Everything has shut down, there's nowhere to find odd jobs. Among 100 people, about 55 are likely unemployed. You can see many rental signs on the streets. Now, don't even think about doing business. Being alive is good enough. You reap what you sow. Wealthy Chinese flock to Singapore amid visa exemption and political unease. On January 25, China and Singapore announced a mutual visa exemption agreement that will officially take effect on February 9, Chinese New Year's Eve. Following the announcement, online travel platforms saw a surge in bookings from Chinese tourists heading to Singapore, with an increase of 30 times and continuing to grow. According to the visa exemption agreement between China and Singapore, citizens holding ordinary passports from both countries can enter each other's territories without a visa for purposes such as tourism, family visits, and business, with a stay of no more than 30 days. However, the agreement stipulates that activities requiring prior approval, such as working in journalism, along with plans to stay for more than 30 days, require a visa before entry. The news of the visa exemption has ignited enthusiasm among Chinese citizens, leading to a rapid increase in the search popularity of Singapore on major online travel platforms. Data from Feizhu indicates that 1 hour after the exemption news was released, searches for flights to Singapore grew by more than 15 times, and searches for hotels increased by more than 6 times. Due to the visa exemption policy becoming effective on Chinese New Year's Eve, the search interest for trips to Singapore during the New Year holidays surged by more than 20 times. As of January 25 at 1600 hours, bookings for trips to Singapore during the New Year holiday exploded by more than 30 times compared to the previous year and are still on the rise. Shanghai, Beijing, Hangzhou, Guangzhou, Chengdu, Shenzhen, Nanjing, Hong Kong, Wuhan, and Xiamen are popular departure cities for travels to Singapore. Data from the online travel platform Trip shows that 10 minutes after the exemption news was released, the popularity of Singapore-related travel products increased by more than 30%. Tongcheng Travel reported that within half an hour of the announcement, searches related to Singapore rose by 340%, and searches for return flights to Singapore during the New Year holiday increased by more than 5 times. The online travel platform Qunar revealed that searches for hotels in Singapore quadrupled, and searches for flights tripled, with continued growth. Singapore ranks as the 5th most popular destination for Chinese residents during the New Year. The online platform Afengwo saw a sudden increase of 350% in interest for Singapore, with Singapore-Malaysia independent travel also rising by 146%. On the Tuniu platform, bookings for 5-day Singapore-Malaysia trips and 5 to 7-day independent trips to Singapore during the New Year period ranked high on the list of popular outbound travel products. Currently, Southeast Asian countries Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand have successively implemented visa exemptions for Chinese tourists, making travels to these 3 countries more convenient for Chinese citizens in the future. Observers believe that beyond boosting the tourism market, the visa exemption policy provides more opportunities for Chinese citizens to leave China. 80% of dams in China's massive reservoirs are overdue. China is the country with the highest number of dams in the world. However, the Chinese Communist Party authorities have admitted that over 80% of the dams have exceeded their service life, leading to continuous dam failures. This has raised concerns. On December 28, the Ministry of Water Resources of the People's Republic of China held a press conference on the management of dam safety in 2023. The Deputy Minister, Lu Weiping, publicly acknowledged that China currently has 98,000 dams, but the problem of aging dams is significant, with over 80% built between the 1950s and the 1970s, resulting in numerous dangerous dams. Wang Weiluo, a hydrologist living in Germany, said, "China's dams are facing a host of problems, that is to say, our dams have already exceeded their service life, and we are at risk. A research report published in 2023 by the Journal of Water Resources and Hydropower Engineering, an official publication supervised by the Ministry of Water Resources, highlighted that from 1954 to 2021, there were records of 3,558 dam failures, averaging 52.3 dam failures per year. This failure rate is much higher than international standards, and the real situation is reportedly even worse. In recent years, the proportion of dam failures resulting in severe casualties has been on the rise. Wang Weiluo commented, "Are we going to demolish them or continue to spend a lot of money?" For the sake of the party's image, they are spending vast amounts of money, investing trillions of renminbi in so-called maintenance and repairs of dams, while completely ignoring the safety issues and property loss problems these dams pose to the public when they discharge floods. Experts point out that after the Chinese Communist Party usurped power, it obliterated traditional values with the ambition of conquering nature, recklessly constructing dams. Many natural disasters have been man-made disasters caused by the CCP. For instance, the 1975 Banqiao Reservoir Dam failure in Henan, where the simultaneous collapse of over 60 dams, including two medium-sized reservoirs, Banqiao and Xi'an, resulted in at least 240,000 deaths. The potential consequences of a Three Gorges Dam failure are unimaginable. Wang Weiluo stated, "Many of China's floods and earthquake disasters are not merely natural disasters, human-made disasters play a bigger part." Under CCP rule, man-made disasters in China always surpass natural disasters. Scandal rocks Greenland Group, employees claim forced stock buys, demand justice. Shanghai Greenland Group Company, Limited, known as Greenland Group, once celebrated as the 55th top enterprise in China, has recently been embroiled in controversy. On January 25, a collective allegation surfaced from 24 of its employees, accusing the state-owned conglomerate of coercing them into buying company stocks. This claim has not only sparked significant public interest but also raised questions about the practices within one of China's prominent corporations. The employees, who are or were part of Greenland Group's Central China division, directed their grievances towards the company and its leadership, particularly its party committee helmed by Chairman Zhang Yuliang. Their report, shared on Chinese social media platforms, accuses the company of engaging in what they perceive as illegal fundraising by mandating employee participation in stock purchases. The letter details what the signatories describe as three major sins committed by Greenland: forcing employees to partake in fundraising efforts and offering loans for buying company shares against regulations, indicating potential illicit fundraising activities; employing authoritative power to intimidate employees, thereby willfully undermining their interests; conducting operations clandestinely, significantly infringing upon employees' right to be informed. These allegations come in the wake of a significant policy implemented by Greenland Group in July 2019. Through an official notice, the corporation introduced the Greenland Group Cadre Employee Wealth Plan, obliging its managerial staff to purchase a set minimum of shares through the company's employee stock ownership platform. The directive demanded that by the end of 2019, senior and mid-level managers purchase at least 1 million shares, with third-tier managers required to buy no fewer than 300,000 shares, using either personal funds or loans provided by the group. According to the employees' claim, refusal to meet these stockholding requirements was met with threats of dismissal. The disillusionment among certain staff members arose from their confrontation with high-level pressure to conform to these demands, culminating in forced compliance. The 24 individuals who filed the report, themselves third-tier managerial employees, were purportedly coerced into buying shares worth a combined total of 9.4829 million yuan, most of which was financed through company loans. They argue that while the company initiated a large-scale layoff by the third quarter of 2021, It simultaneously manipulated the share transaction prices to the employees' detriment. They recount their failed efforts to seek redress and recover their investments post-resignation, highlighting the adverse financial impact of the company's policies on their personal finances. The collective report further accuses the Greenland Group of offering loans under the guise of the Greenland Partnership, thus pushing employees to engage further in the company's mixed ownership reform, exacerbating their financial vulnerabilities. The grievance concludes on a despondent note, with the reporters fundamentally questioning whether the company aims to push them to desperation. In response to these allegations, Greenland Group has asserted its commitment to addressing the concerns of its former employees with the promise of open communication and a comprehensive resolution strategy.
In recent months, China's airports have been very empty. Beijing Daxing International Airport has very few customers.
您好，您乘坐的520号航班即将起飞，没有登机的旅客，请您抓紧时间登机。
Another empty airport with no queues at all. What is happening? This phenomenon has become a big problem in China. And because of that, the loss of these airports have amassed to a shocking number. How long has it been since you last took a plane? In 2023, the civil aviation industry lost 28.8 billion yuan. Over the past 4 years, it has lost a total of 426.4 billion, equivalent to losing more than 700 civil aircraft. You should know that in 2019, the civil aviation industry actually made a profit of over 50 billion. So if you calculate it this way, even if the industry starts making 50 billion in profit per year from 2024, it would still take 8 years to make up for the over 400 billion deficit. This shows that the Chinese civil aviation industry is essentially in a tough financial spot, much like being in a deep hole after several bad years. Think of it like this. If an airline were a person, it's as if they've been spending way more than they've been earning. So much so that they're now deep in debt. Combined with fewer and fewer foreign and domestic guests, the debt is becoming greater and greater. Pudong International Airport looks empty. We can barely see anyone. Can't imagine this is an international airport. Imagine being in this situation. What is your thoughts? Not only that, the biggest chunk of their spending goes into buying planes, which is kind of like buying a house but much more expensive, and they need lots of them. Even when they buy these planes, they can't pay all at once, so they take out huge loans, which means they're also paying a lot of interest over time, just like paying a mortgage but on a massive scale, which worsen the debt of the airport. My name is Liu Dawi, and I come from a family with a background of veterans from the War of Resistance. I work in the transportation sector in Guangzhou. I am now publicly whistleblowing against Guangzhou Baiyun Airport Comprehensive Development Limited Company for owing me transportation fees amounting to 1.04 million yuan, which they have refused to pay back despite a court ruling in my favor. Now, I am publicly denouncing Guangzhou Baiyun Airport Comprehensive Development Limited Company. The transportation fees owed to me by Baiyun Airport stem from a contract in 2017. Unfortunately, court mediations and rulings seem to be ineffective against the airport. I am bringing this matter to public attention, seeking a judgment from the public on this issue. Chinese airlines plunge into deep losses totaling 138 billion yuan. China's 7 major airlines plunged into staggering losses totaling nearly 138 billion yuan, or roughly $20 billion. The massive losses were led by China's big 3 carriers: Air China, China Eastern Airlines, and China Southern Airlines. In 2023, the civil aviation sector experienced a loss of nearly 30 billion yuan. For 2024, the Civil Aviation Administration has set a goal for the industry to achieve overall profitability, despite reducing losses by 187.2 billion yuan in 2023. The sector still incurred a loss of nearly 30 billion yuan, According to the latest news, the Civil Aviation Administration has established a target for the industry to achieve overall profitability in 2024 during an internal meeting. This indicates that the administration has recognized the issue of losses and has begun to take measures to reverse the situation. Although profitability was not achieved in 2023, the Civil Aviation Administration is actively seeking solutions. Soaring fuel costs and weak demand create perfect storm. Behind these epic losses is a perfect storm of challenges. Soaring fuel prices, a weaker Chinese currency, and tepid travel demand. Jet fuel prices have surged over 50% since 2021 to historic highs. This has dramatically inflated airlines' largest cost center. Fuel price volatility also makes cost control incredibly difficult, with carriers struggling to hedge effectively. The continuous rise in gasoline prices in China raises questions about whether it's merely a strategy to promote electric vehicle sales. With the notion that half a tank of gas is taxes, there's a significant discussion to be had. When international gasoline prices increase, we experience consecutive hikes. Yet when they drop, the pattern of hikes continues unabated. For context, in the United States, a liter of gasoline costs approximately $1.42. In Germany, it's around 1.9 euro. In Japan, it's about 185 yen. While in China, a liter costs roughly 8 RMB. In terms of income, an average American worker might earn around $3,000 to $4,000 a month, whereas in China, many earn monthly salaries ranging from 3,000 RMB to 5,000 RMB, with a significant number of people falling within this range. Consequently, the proportion of income spent on gasoline by the average Chinese citizen is exceedingly high, arguably 5 times more than their American counterparts. The phrase "half a tank is taxes" refers to the various taxes included in the price of gasoline, such as a 13% value-added tax and a consumption tax, which is currently fixed at 25%. Additionally, there are other levies such as the urban maintenance and construction tax at roughly 2.66%. A transaction fee surcharge of 1.14%, a local education surcharge of 0.26%, and an import duty of 5% for imported vehicles, culminating in a total tax rate of 47.56%. This means that out of every 100 RMB spent on crude oil, 48 RMB goes towards taxes. At the same time, the Chinese yuan has dropped 10% against the US dollar since 2018. This currency devaluation has swollen the cost of dollar-denominated expenses like jet fuel and aircraft leasing. Finally, China's strict zero-COVID policy and repeated outbreaks have kept a lid on travel demand. Domestic traffic has only recovered to 75% of pre-pandemic levels as of March 2022. The collapse in international traffic has been even more dramatic. Hangzhou Airport is so empty. A person started to play the piano to improve the atmosphere. Due to the COVID restriction and rising service costs, the underground passage of Nanning Wuxi International Airport is deserted. The once huge and busy Luding Airport is now without a soul. Precarious financial health threatens sector viability. The 7 largest airports in China all have negative net revenue. Several smaller carriers now face a real risk of bankruptcy. In 2023, our civil aviation sector incurred losses of 288 billion yuan, amounting to a total loss of 4,264 billion yuan over the 3 years of the pandemic. Among the world's 24 largest airline groups, 4 from our country, namely China Southern Airlines, China Eastern Airlines, Air China, and Hainan Airlines, are on the list, and they are the only ones operating at a loss, while the rest are profitable. A significant issue contributing to these losses is the imprudent purchase of aircraft. For instance, our China Eastern Airlines annual revenue back then was only 461 billion yuan. Yet in July of the same year, they made a substantial investment by ordering 100 aircraft from Airbus for 90 billion yuan. Although this amount is not paid all at once and incurs interest, it raises the question of how many years it will take to recoup such an expenditure for 100 planes. The rationale behind such massive purchases can be compared to a local scenario. If Dongkun produces watermelons, and we're on good terms, we might buy a truckload of watermelons from them as a gesture of friendship. Similarly, if Xi'an also grows watermelons, we might buy another truckload from them to maintain good relations. This blending of business with other matters leads to inevitable losses for airlines. Moreover, a large number of individuals are currently on the blacklist for defaulters, preventing them from flying. Ironically, these individuals are often the most frequent in economic and business travel activities. Thus, how can we expect the civil aviation industry to thrive under such conditions? Additionally, it is said that 70% of our population has never flown, and with current financial constraints, even fewer people can afford to fly. China's airports in recent months. With no Seoul, Ningbo Airport is on edge of bankruptcy. Industry debt levels have swelled over the years, with the total debt-to-asset ratio rising from 67% in 2016 to over 80% today. This means carriers have little leftover borrowing capacity to weather the current crisis. Several also have dangerously low quick ratios, a measure of short-term liquidity. Among the top airlines, Air China has the strongest quick ratio at just 0.4x. This implies only 40 cents of liquid assets available for each $1 of current liabilities. Yes, it has been abandoned for over a month now, and I don't know how to face it. I can hardly believe it's over just like that. I've fantasized countless times about the atmosphere here after the opening at night, and sitting here watching the bustling crowd below with a satisfied smile. After today, all of this will be no more. 180 days and nights, a witness to what was. Brother Hong, what should we do with this plane then? Where do we go from here? Does dismantling it also incur costs? Yes, clearing this site alone, excluding the deposit, just dismantling this plane will cost over $100,000. With the loss of potential earnings included, we're looking at a total of over $200,000. I don't even know how to face this. With the situation deteriorating, some expect Beijing to step in with a bailout. However, analysts warn that this could lead to a repeat of the messy sector-wide bailout in the early 2000s. Back then, overzealous state investment resulted in major overcapacity issues. By 2004, the sector plunged into $15 billion of red ink. A government bailout and painful restructuring followed, which eventually cost taxpayers nearly $10 billion. With the current situation, the proper conclusion is that the days of easy money for China's airlines are over. The Chinese government cannot afford another disorderly bailout. The industry finds itself at a critical juncture with its financial viability though a government rescue may be inevitable. Execution risks could leave carriers and taxpayers with yet another giant bill. The geopolitical implications on China's aviation sector. The narrative concerning China's aviation sector is further complicated by the dynamics of foreign investments and economic policies. Analysis reveals that the depreciation of the Chinese yuan against the US dollar has significantly impacted the industry, particularly in terms of increased fuel costs and a heightened debt burden on airlines. With fuel purchases typically settled in US versus dollars, a depreciating yuan exacerbates the financial strain by inflating the cost of fuel, a critical operating expense for airlines. Additionally, China Eastern Airlines' financial maneuvers, including a substantial aircraft purchase agreement with Airbus and an escalating debt-to-equity ratio, exemplify the sector's vulnerability to currency fluctuations and the complexities of managing capital-intensive investments in an economically volatile environment. The concern over China's economic direction and geopolitical posturing has led to palpable skepticism among international investors. Not only that, domestic investors can even have proper priority. A state-owned enterprise in Xi'an is planning to spend 300 million yuan on drones, despite the airport construction being halted due to a lack of funds. The case of the 7.15 million yuan sculpture in Xi'an remains unresolved, and now Pinyu County is involved in a 300 million yuan drone purchase through Pinyu Chengda Transportation. The company claims that drones are needed for airport operations, which is why they are purchasing them. However, the airport, originally planned to be operational in 2020, is still under construction. With the airport unfinished, the purpose of these drones is questionable, especially given that the halt in construction is due to insufficient funds. The total estimated investment for Pingju Airport is 247 million yuan, which has been delayed for 3 years with only 127 million yuan actually invested. Where then is the money for the drones coming from? The first quarterly deficit recorded in China's foreign direct investment in 2023 and the stalling of acquisitions and financing focused on China reflect a broader apprehension about the country's economic stability and regulatory climate. Western trade groups express ongoing reservations about China's extensive enforcement of anti-espionage laws and regulatory scrutiny, further complicating the landscape for foreign capital engagement in the aviation sector. Lack of investment is the reason why China's airport is in the state they are now. Without change, ghost airports will rise without end.
Dear friends, take a look at this. This is what happened when charging a phone at home with this product, which led to a fire in the house. This is a product promoted by Douyin. Just by charging with this item, which was purchased based on its recommendation, a fire broke out. China's fake head and shoulder. Can you read the name of the fake product?
海灰烯去屑洗发乳，海灰烯，海灰烯这种牌子啊
Chinese products are hilarious sometimes.
完了，妈呀！
In an era where authenticity and brand value hold significant prestige, the proliferation of counterfeit products in China presents a complex paradox. With counterfeit goods capturing over 65% of market circulation within the country, the allure of fake merchandise seems undeterred by the high risks associated with their production and purchase. This phenomenon raises critical questions about consumer behavior, market dynamics, and the broader implications for both local and global economies. Chinese fake Apple phones are on another level. This pineapple phone looks distinctive. Apple can never sue this brand. The right way to deal with China's copycat phone. The Xi'an City Public Security Bureau has successfully cracked a major counterfeit Apple Bluetooth headphones case involving a staggering amount of 167 million yuan. This initiated a cross-province police criminal showdown spanning Guangdong and Guangxi, involving 3 locations. The police force, swift and precise like a cheetah hunting its prey, apprehended 22 suspects, deeply hidden within the fabric of society. They dismantled a counterfeit production network as intricate as a spider's web, spread across 2 provinces. This included 9 secret production sites for the counterfeit Apple Bluetooth headphones, 3 production lines operating around the clock, and 8 sales outlets active both online and offline. During this operation, the police seized over 69,000 counterfeit headphones, so well-crafted they could easily be mistaken for the real thing, and 45,000 semi-finished products scattered about, silently speaking volumes about the deceitful transactions defrauding consumers. Additionally, a complete set of manufacturing tools, packaging materials sufficient for wrapping and distribution for 50,000 sets, and a vast number of components for 10,000 sets were confiscated, forming the cornerstone of this massive counterfeit empire. Understanding consumer psychology behind counterfeit consumption. The driving force behind the burgeoning counterfeit market in China is rooted in a deep-seated consumer psychology marked by contradictions. On one hand, the pursuit of a quality lifestyle and luxury brands symbolizes status and success in the rapidly evolving Chinese society. On the other hand, economic constraints place genuine luxury goods beyond the reach of the majority, creating a fertile ground for the counterfeit market to thrive. Faking popular brands like Adidas, for example, are very profitable. Nonetheless, be careful when buying China's shoes, or this might happen to you.
但是我觉得质量还可以，这个针织面的料子穿起来也不容易脚臭啊。
确实不错啊，穿上去也是挺舒服的。哟，
Do you know why there are so many counterfeiters in our country? Firstly, the cost for counterfeiters is too low. Secondly, the profits that counterfeiters can gain are too substantial. Thirdly, the protection for the original brands is too strong, and the law enforcement environment is too poor. Otherwise, places like the west of Guangzhou Station wouldn't dare to be so blatantly open. Fourthly, there are too many similar products flowing in the market, the interest groups are too wide, and the legal regulations are too complicated. Fifth, ordinary consumers are unable to protect their rights, and the factors of capital manipulation and media creating public opinion are too significant, leading to the prevalence of fake watches or high-quality counterfeit watches of major brands in the market. For many, high-quality imitation products offer an accessible alternative to genuine luxury goods, allowing consumers to partake in the symbols of wealth and status without the associated financial burden. This duality of economic pragmatism and psychological fulfillment fuels the demand for counterfeit goods, posing significant challenges for brands and policymakers alike. In the industry, nearly 90% of the goods are counterfeit, and even professionals find it challenging to distinguish them. In this era, the most profitable business undoubtedly revolves around women's cosmetics and luxury goods, which have already emptied the purses of many girls. However, what you may not be aware of is that many people specifically purchase items from overseas that are fake. Some individuals are fully aware that these items are counterfeit but still pay high prices for them, all to satisfy their vanity. The industry of overseas purchasing, also known as Daigou, has made many people incredibly wealthy. However, some fake items are still noticeably different from genuine ones, while others have become so convincing that even industry experts struggle to differentiate. Bringing overseas products to Chinese consumers involves expenses such as taxes, shipping costs, and labor, which drive up the product prices to levels unaffordable for many ordinary consumers. China makes pants for aliens. Double fake? Sometimes, people just blatantly admit their true nature. Fresh durian from Malaysia or use castus to insult the customer? At least use a really small durian. That would have been fine. The thriving counterfeit market in China, economic and cultural dimensions. At the heart of the counterfeit market in China lie significant economic drivers. The allure of high returns with comparatively low production costs presents a lucrative opportunity for counterfeiters. For instance, in the realm of footwear, the city of Putian has emerged as a notorious hub for the manufacture of fake shoes that are often indistinguishable from genuine articles. In 2020, the police in Ningbo, Zhejiang, busted a counterfeit shoe sales point, confiscating over 10,000 counterfeit and substandard goods with a total value of 3 million yuan. The individuals involved were arrested on charges of selling counterfeit registered trademark products and were subjected to criminal measures. It was reported that the goods all originated from Putian, Fujian. These counterfeit shoes were initially purchased for just a dozen or 20 yuan each, with the most expensive ones not exceeding 100 yuan. However, when resold to retailers or consumers, the price is multiplied. In the same year, Shanghai police also uncovered a counterfeit shoe production point in Putian, arresting 15 suspects, including an experienced shoemaker with 30 years of experience. The police seized over 60,000 pairs of counterfeit shoes, nearly 100,000 pairs of semi-finished products, and over 500 pieces of counterfeit equipment, with a total value of 120 million yuan. While the net of justice is wide, there are always those who manage to slip through. Initially, Putian shoes were produced in underground factories, and Putian was indeed dubbed the counterfeit shoe capital. They operated covertly, evading the watchful eyes of regulatory authorities. Middlemen played a role in facilitating the production and sales of counterfeit goods, allowing the industry to survive in the gaps. Today, these activities have transitioned to online platforms, further expanding their reach. China wants to fake everything it can get its hand on. This makes the actual companies lose billions in profit. Only in China, Adidas and Nike decided to combine and form some sort of hybrid. This is an economically powerful town in Guiping, and it is also the production base for manufacturing counterfeit Adidas, Nike and Puma brand. Moreover, the economic incentives extend beyond mere production. The counterfeit market has ingeniously adapted to the digital age, leveraging e-commerce platforms and online shopping agents to broaden their reach. By manipulating logistics and shipping origins, counterfeiters enhance customer trust and obscure the true nature of the products being sold, further exacerbating the challenge of curbing this illicit trade. The advent of counterfeit malls and fake shopping services demonstrates the lengths to which counterfeiters will go to mimic legitimacy and tap into the lucrative market of consumers looking for high-end products at a fraction of the cost. What is this? Obama's fried potato? And the brand is UFO? Only in China can they produce this level of product. Another knockoff brand in China. The counterfeit market in China is not solely the result of opportunistic manufacturers, it also reflects a nuanced cultural landscape where the demand for affordable goods often overshadows the quest for authenticity. A significant portion of the Chinese population, grappling with low income, gravitates towards these cheaper alternatives. The high cost of genuine products, coupled with a societal emphasis on external appearances and brand recognition, fosters a fertile ground for counterfeits. Consumers, motivated by the desire to participate in the prestige associated with branded goods without the financial burden, willingly engage with the counterfeit market. I bought toothpaste, and it's particularly difficult to use. Today, when I examined it closely, I realized that it's a Yunnan traditional Chinese medicine product. You can see how much it resembles Yunnan Baiyao. I've already used so much of it, and it's not effective at all. At least it is really cheap. Here is a netizen explains why fake Red Bull is so cheap. First, let's compare the packaging. The genuine and imitation packaging are very similar. However, there are some differences, like the Bull logo, right? Also, their letters are different. The genuine one is red BI, while the imitation is Rebui. The D becomes B, and the I is lowercase in the imitation, whereas it's uppercase in the genuine one. The text is also different. The genuine one says Red Bull, while the imitation says energy drink. But their capacities are the same, both 250 milliliters, and the text below is somewhat similar. One is Red Bull Vitamin Functional Beverage, and the other is Red Bull Vitamin Tianjin Food Limited Company. Next, let's compare the most important part, their ingredients, and see what's different. Let's first look at the ingredient list for the imitation. The first ingredient is water, followed by white sugar, fruit syrup, concentrated apple juice, and 7 food additives. Then, there's edible essence, vitamin B6, and vitamin B12. This vitamin is listed after the essence, and it's conceptually added because food safety regulations clearly specify that the amount of essence added is very small. So, it's conceptually added. Now, let's look at the genuine one. The genuine ingredient list has taurine, lysine, inositol, caffeine, niacin, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, citric acid, white sugar, essence, sodium citrate, sodium benzoate, lemon yellow, and cochineal. Notice that it doesn't include red water. It's evident that the genuine product has more ingredients than the imitation. So, we've found the reason why the imitation is sold so cheap. It's because the quality of the ingredients used is significantly lower than the genuine product. It's all about cutting costs. The counterfeit goods market in China, with its sprawling inventory of imitations ranging from high-profile brands like Nike, Adidas, and Red Bull to the audacious cloning of foreign malls, casts a long, dark shadow over the intricate fabric of societal values and ethical norms. This shadow not only obscures the line between authenticity and forgery but also deeply stains the societal perception of value, quality, and the price we are willing to pay not just monetarily, but morally. As counterfeit goods flood the market, they erode the bedrock of trust and integrity, compelling us to confront uncomfortable truths about our consumption habits and the ethical compromises we entertain for the sake of economy and convenience. What in China can't be counterfeited? From our food, clothing, and everyday items to pots, pans, and utensils, as long as there's money to be made, counterfeit goods are rampant. Does this include e-commerce, which is currently booming? Have you ever noticed that on e-commerce platforms, you can often find items priced so low that you can't even imagine, and they still offer free shipping? Items like these are essentially industrial waste, meant to be discarded, but they are used to deceive consumers, undermining trust. I have to ask, where is our sense of responsibility? Where is our integrity? Even when it comes to something like engine oil, there are counterfeit products out there. For instance, well-known brand engine oil is sold online for over 100 yuan, while there are others selling it for 400 to 500 yuan. Is the profit margin really that huge? In our live broadcasts, we often encounter car owners who use fake engine oil or the wrong type, leading to engine damage. Ordinary people work hard to save money to buy a car, only to be forced to spend thousands of yuan on major engine repairs due to the actions of unscrupulous businesses. When will this end?
XPeng P7 caught fire at the charging station. In Jiapu Wumei, Pinghu, Jiaxing City, Zhejiang Province, an alarming incident unfolded as a P7 electric vehicle burst into flames during a charging session in a parking lot. The intensity of the fire reduced the vehicle to a mere skeletal frame, capturing widespread attention and dominating Baidu's trending topics on January 21st. This occurrence has reignited apprehensions surrounding the safety of electric vehicles, particularly those utilizing lithium batteries. The vehicle involved in this unfortunate event was identified as an XPeng Motors P7 electric car. The incident unfolded at the Wumei parking lot in Jiapu, Pinghu, and was captured on video, revealing the ferocity of the flames and the subsequent thick billows of smoke. While the fire was successfully extinguished within approximately 10 minutes, the vehicle was left in a charred and skeletal state. Mercifully, no individuals were present inside the car during the incident, ensuring no casualties or injuries. This development has sparked a lively debate among online communities. Some netizens express a sentiment that electric cars often adopt grandiose titles like new energy, when in reality, they argue, these vehicles might be more accurately dubbed as four-wheeled electric donkeys, given that their technological advancements may not significantly surpass their two-wheeled counterparts. Others bring attention to the recurrent nature of incidents involving XPeng Motors, with comments noting that reports of their vehicles catching fire are not unprecedented. The common denominator in these incidents is the use of lithium batteries, which, as many argue, comes with inherent risks. The complex nature of battery technology, especially the prevalence of lithium batteries in new energy vehicles, continues to contribute to charging accidents. Industry experts emphasize that one of the primary causes of these incidents is the ignition of battery packs. Manufacturing defects or the inability to entirely eliminate static electricity can lead to short circuits, arcs, and thermal runaway, ultimately resulting in fires. As the prevalence of new energy vehicles rises, it is anticipated that incidents related to their safety during charging may escalate. A netizen with the username #aphoto shared insights, remarking that the high charging current for batteries tends to compress stored energy, increasing the likelihood of heat generation. In light of these concerns, they suggest acquiring insurance covering scenarios of spontaneous combustion and explosion. XPeng Motors, founded in 2014 and headquartered in Guangzhou, stands as an innovative force in the electric vehicle sector, operating under the umbrella of Guangzhou Xiaopeng Motors Technology Limited Company. On July 7, 2021, XPeng Motors achieved a significant milestone by officially listing on the main board of the Hong Kong Stock Exchange under the stock code 9868. Crowds of protesters in Hunan's Xiangtan and Hubei's Yichang demand their rights. On January 19th, homeowners in Xiangtan, Hunan, and Yichang, Hubei took a stand against community issues. In Jiangtan's Jingshu Shijia West Garden community, residents opposed the installation of a high-voltage line, while simultaneously, in Yichang's Kilixin Village resettlement community, homeowners protested against mandatory parking fees imposed by the property management. Regrettably, law enforcement intervened in both instances, leading to the arrest of several homeowners during these demonstrations. Jingshu Shijia West Garden community in Xiangtan, Hunan, with over 300 households, became the focal point of concerns as a 56-meter-high, 220 kV high-voltage line threatened to cross through the residential area. Worried about potential risks to personal safety, health, and increased environmental noise, residents united on the morning of January 19th to initiate a collective protest. Banners displaying messages like, "Oppose the high-voltage line passing through the residential area," were raised, and residents blocked traffic to impede the construction of the high-voltage line. Some homeowners even resorted to extreme measures, such as threatening to jump off buildings to express their grievances. Simultaneously in Yichang, Hubei, specifically in Qiaoting District, residents of Kilixin Village embarked on their own protest against irregular property fees on the same day. Kilixin Village, designed as a new type of urban community primarily for relocating farmers, faced controversy as the property management declared the enforcement of a monthly parking fee of 300 yuan starting from the 18th. Additionally, homeowners not paying the fee would be prohibited from driving into the community. This sudden announcement by the property management sparked dissatisfaction among homeowners. On the evening of January 19th, residents took to the streets, blocking traffic at the community entrance in an attempt to garner societal attention. Homeowners argued that before relocation, the local government had promised to provide each homeowner with a designated parking space. Some residents expressed willingness to pay the fees, but their concerns arose when the allocation of parking spaces did not materialize after payment. Property management turned a blind eye to safety issues related to parking, allowing residents to park their vehicles haphazardly. In response, law enforcement took forceful action to evict protesting homeowners, leading to the arrest of one resident. Frustrated homeowners briefly encircled police vehicles, demanding the release of the arrested individual. As of January 20th, the protest actions by Kilixin Village homeowners were still ongoing. Over 70% of graduates from prestigious Chinese universities choose to continue their postgraduate studies due to high employment pressure. Amidst China's economic challenges, the pressure on university graduates to secure employment has surged. A growing number of individuals are now opting to extend their academic pursuits, delaying their entry into the workforce. This trend is observed across various renowned Chinese universities, exemplified by Peking University, where more than 70% of graduates are choosing to pursue advanced studies to bolster their competitiveness. As reported by Yikai Finance, numerous Chinese universities have recently released comprehensive reports on teaching quality for the academic years 2022 to 2023, shedding light on the post-graduation plans of students. Among the 21 universities surveyed, the average post-graduation enrollment rate stands at a substantial 62.63%. Notably, Tsinghua University, Peking University, University of Science and Technology of China, Shanghai Jiaotong University, University of Electronic Science and Technology, Fudan University, and Northwestern Polytechnical University boast post-graduation rates exceeding 70%. A closer examination of individual universities reveals compelling statistics. For Tsinghua University's 2023 graduates, totaling over 3,200 students, an impressive 80.8% have chosen the path of advanced studies. Similarly, Peking University witnessed 78.07% of its 3,826 graduates opting for further education as of August 31, 2023. Fudan University, Shanghai Jiaotong University, and the University of Science and Technology of China reported post-graduation enrollment rates of 70.61%, 72.61%, and 75.3%, respectively. Explaining this trend, Professor Ding Chang, Associate Professor of the Economics Department at Xi'an University, notes that many desirable job positions now require a postgraduate degree. This prompts a significant number of graduates to pursue advanced studies, aiming to enhance their employability. Graduates from prestigious universities enjoy higher job placement rates and demonstrate overall stronger competitiveness in postgraduate exams. Additionally, the expansion of graduate programs in recent years contributes to the rising proportion of top university graduates continuing their education. Professor Ding underscores the prevalence of this trend, particularly in fields such as medicine and engineering, where there is a noteworthy increase in enrollment. This expansion is strategically aligned to cultivate talents needed for economic and social development. Furthermore, a report from the Michael Research Institute, a distinguished Chinese educational research organization, highlights that various factors, including societal demands, industry development, professional characteristics, and employment market prospects, contribute to the sustained popularity of postgraduate studies in specific disciplines, notably fields such as clinical medicine, preventive medicine, and materials science and engineering have seen a continuous rise in the proportion of university graduates opting for postgraduate studies, securing their position among the top 3 choices for 3 consecutive years. China's natural disasters will cause 100 million people to suffer and cause economic losses of 1.5 trillion yuan. The Office of the China National Commission for Disaster Reduction and the Ministry of Emergency Management reported today that in 2023, a total of 95.44 million individuals in China were affected by a range of natural disasters. These incidents resulted in 691 casualties or disappearances, the collapse of 209,000 homes, and direct economic losses amounting to approximately 54.5 billion. Furthermore, the Commission unveiled an evaluation of the country's top 10 natural disasters for 2023. Notably, 3 of these events were attributed to Typhoon Dushuire and its impactful winds and floods in Beijing, Hebei, and the Northeast. Another significant disaster included the powerful earthquake in Gansu's Xi'an on December 18th. As per reports from CCTV News, the predominant natural disasters in China for the year encompassed floods, typhoons, earthquakes, and geological occurrences, as well as incidents like droughts, hailstorms, freezing temperatures, snow-related disasters, sandstorms, and forest and grassland fires, each varying in intensity. The disclosed data revealed that over the course of 2023, diverse natural disasters impacted 95.44 million people to varying extents, leading to 691 deaths or disappearances and the urgent relocation of 3.44 million individuals. The aftermath included the collapse of 209,000 homes, with 623,000 severely damaged and 1.441 million moderately damaged, agricultural crops were affected over an expanse of 10.5 million hectares, causing direct economic losses amounting to approximately 54.5 billion. The report highlighted specific characteristics of China's natural disasters in 2023, such as an uneven distribution across the country in terms of both time and space, with a distinct heavier in the north and lighter in the south pattern. Regions like Hubei and Dongbei experienced severe rainfall, floods, and sudden geological incidents. Despite a lower frequency of typhoons, their landfall intensity resulted in multiple instances of extreme heavy rainfall. Although moderate to strong earthquakes were fewer, the impactful earthquake in Xi'an, Gansu, caused substantial losses. The CCP created a 100% fatal new coronavirus expert. The consequences will be serious. Recently, scholars from Beijing universities and the 5th Medical Center, affiliated with Beijing 301 Hospital, jointly published a paper claiming to have developed a 100% fatality rate variant of the novel coronavirus. The study, using a pangolin coronavirus, introduced a strain named GXP2VC7, which, when exposed to the brains of mice with ACE2 receptors, led to their death within 7 to 8 days of infection. Dr. Dong Yuhong, a European expert in virology and infectious diseases, expressed concern about the potential severe consequences of this virus if it were to escape from the laboratory. She emphasized the importance of ethical considerations in scientific research and cautioned against pursuing technological advancements without ethical standards. Over the past 4 years, the global impact of the COVID-19 pandemic originating from China has been devastating. Despite this, the recent publication suggests that scholars within the Chinese Communist Party system continue to engage in the creation of dangerous and lethal viruses. According to information from an individual familiar with internal data of the Chinese Ministry of Public Security, the actual death toll due to the pandemic might be concealed, given the Chinese government's consistent efforts to downplay the severity of the situation. The source indicated that China's registered population is only slightly over 1 billion. A resident of Nanjing, Jiangsu province, using the pseudonym Ling Xiao, revealed that according to data from the Ministry of Public Security, the current population is around 1 billion, contradicting the official claim of 1.4 billion. Despite the Chinese Communist Party's relaxation of its extreme zero-COVID policy for a year, the return of foreign tourists to China remains slow. Data from the National Immigration Administration of the Chinese Communist Party indicates that in 2023, the number of entries and exits by foreigners recorded by the border authorities decreased by over 60% compared to pre-pandemic levels, amounting to 35 million people.
Shenzhen Yugay, Autonomous Region, Shahazi City, Wanda Plaza, Urban Complex Base 3 and subsequent plots. Project has withheld the wages of workers. Workers went to the sales office to demand their salaries. Jingshuan County, Gansu Province, the construction project of the People's Court Trial Courtroom has withheld the wages of workers. Workers collectively sought payment. Hanzhong City, Shaanxi Province, the construction project of Xi'an High-Tech No 1 Middle School in Chinas Aviation Smart New City has withheld the wages of workers. Workers petitioned to demand their salaries. Baiyashan City, Yunnan Province, Longyang District's 14th Five-Year Plan Rural Road Construction Project, Haze 1 has withheld the wages of workers. Workers went to the project manager's office to demand their salaries. Shenyai District, Beijing, the Beijing Manor Project, has withheld the wages of workers. Workers are demanding their salaries. Linia City, Shandong Province, Shandong First Construction Engineering Limited Company has withheld the wages of workers. Workers went to the company and displayed banners to demand their salaries. Kayang District, Beijing, the Lido Yuet Fu Project has withheld the wages of workers. Workers displayed banners to demand their salaries. Yanggu County, Shandong Province, Yanggu Xingtai Pipeline Natural Gas Limited Company has withheld the wages of workers. Workers collectively went to the company and displayed banners to demand their salaries. Recently, according to unreliable sources, Foxconn is rumored to undergo a significant layoff. Since October 2020, Foxconn's Zhengzhou factory has already cut over 60,000 contract employees, making this move the most severe blow to the entire industry in a decade. A leaked internal memo from Foxconn revealed plans to cut spending by 20 billion RMB in 2024. The mainland iPhone business will reduce its capacity by 6 billion and plans to lay off around 80% of non-technical staff. Some netizens found that Foxconn has not posted any recruitment information on its official public account since November 2023. However, on Foxconn's official recruitment page, various engineering positions are still open. In response to recent layoffs, Foxconn stated that it is a routine action to adjust the number of employees in different parks to meet the global layout and customer business development needs. The layoffs at Foxconn will affect hundreds of companies within the Foxconn Group. This situation is not limited to Foxconn alone. Due to sluggish iPhone sales in mainland China, Foxconn reported a revenue of 619.3 billion yuan in December 2023, an 8.3% decrease, the first monthly decline since February last year. Apple has also reduced recruitment in some departments and lowered its holiday season revenue forecast from $89 to $93 billion to $84 billion due to lower than expected iPhone sales, marking Apple's first sales forecast cut in nearly 2 decades. As the economy in mainland China declines and unfavorable industry factors affect iPhone sales, there has been a general downgrade in consumption by the middle class, impacting industrial production on the mainland. Regarding businesses, many are struggling due to a lack of customers, and the impact of online shopping on physical stores is noticeable. The decline in consumer spending and changes in purchasing behavior have affected various industries. In addition to Foxconn, another company, Xi'an, has gained attention as news circulated about employees being forced to take a 6-month leave. Some Xi'an technical staff have allegedly been placed on mandatory leave. There have been reports of employees gathering outside Xi'an's factory gates, stating that they have received unilateral notices of leave from the company. The leave is expected to last from January 16, 2024 to July 15, 2024, affecting approximately 100 employees across multiple departments. Xi'an has not officially announced any notice about employee leave, and there have been rumors about factory closures. It's crucial to approach such information with rationality, considering the complexities and uncertainties involved. These developments indicate challenges in economic shifts in the manufacturing and technology sectors in China. It's recommended to follow reputable news sources for the latest updates and official statements from the companies involved. Soaring unpaid wages and bankruptcies fueling legal profession in mainland China. Tough times ahead in 2024. As the mainland Chinese economy experiences a downturn, a surge in reports on unpaid wages, unemployment, and bankruptcies is being observed. Economic disputes are on the rise, contributing to a booming legal industry. Simultaneously, due to the high cost associated with resorting to legal channels in mainland China, incidents of grassroots rights protection through online public opinion continue to increase. These trends highlight the challenging living conditions for the Chinese people amid economic decline, indicating tough times in 2024. Booming legal business signals economic downturn. Ms. Lai, who works in the legal profession in Nanjing, shared with Epoch Times that over the past 2 years, conflicts and disputes in the economic sector have increased, leading to a significant upswing in legal industry activity. The number of lawyers has undoubtedly increased. China has added many lawyers over these 2 years, and our numbers have multiplied several times. With the growing number of economic disputes, litigation cases are also increasing in the short term. However, in the long run, no industry can maintain prolonged prosperity when the overall environment is not improving, she said. According to a report from the High People's Court of Jiangsu Province, the number of first-instance judgments on commercial cases in Jiangsu increased from 147,000 in 2021 to 753,000 in 2022, a 5-fold increase. The Economic Observer reported in August 2023 that in recent years, apart from law firms, few industries have contributed as significantly to the market's new demand. A Beijing lawyer mentioned that although the business of mergers, acquisitions, and listings has decreased, the volume of bankruptcy liquidation has at least doubled compared to previous years. Another lawyer from a local law firm in Shanghai stated, labor disputes have increased since the second half of 2022, and bankruptcy cases have been on the rise this year. According to China Dissent Monitor, a Washington-based non-governmental organization monitoring protests in China, economic protest activities on the mainland reached a new high in 2023. From December 2022 to February 2023, there were 370 labor protests, more than twice the number in the previous 3 months. From April to June 2023, there were 535 protests, with labor 59%, and housing 22% being the main areas of concern. In August and September, there were 461 protests related to economic dissatisfaction, 1.5 times the recorded number for the same period in 2022, with almost 3/4 of them being labor protests, reflecting a continuous increase in worker protest activities. Economic difficulties reflected in legal trends. Former chief compliance officer of a mainland asset management company, lawyer Liang Shihua, expressed that under normal economic circumstances, there should be an increasing trend in the number of lawyers. In times of economic improvement, many industries would employ more legal professionals, mostly for preventive measures, training, contract management, and system design, with litigation being only a small part. If the entire economy is not doing well, the industry will cut personnel across the board, including finance administration and legal staff. Now, the legal industry is hotter than in previous years, perhaps because many law graduates can't find other jobs. They could go to public security, prosecution, and big companies to work in legal affairs. With fewer opportunities in these areas, the last resort is inevitably becoming a lawyer. Liang Shihua stated that the entry threshold for becoming a lawyer in China is not as high as in Western countries. In the United States, the starting point for lawyers is very high. After completing undergraduate studies, one has to pass the law school exam and finish a law doctorate to become a lawyer. In China, law schools start from high school, and after completing high school, one can enter law school and then become a lawyer. Ms. Li added that economic instability over the past 2 years has affected various industries. Now, there is indeed more consulting on layoffs than before, but in terms of bankruptcy numbers, we can't see it. China avoids talking about bankruptcy, economic downturn, and impact on small businesses. Under 3 years of epidemic control measures, a wave of closures has hit China's small and medium-sized enterprises. Reports indicate that in 2020, 460,000 companies closed, leaving 780 million people in debt. In the first 11 months of 2021, about 437 million small and medium-sized enterprises permanently closed. In 2022, there were large-scale layoffs in internet technology companies. Following the pandemic, China's economy did not show the expected improvement, according to information from Xi'an, a business data provider. Nearly 7,000 rural homestays closed in the first 11 months of 2023. Private enterprises provide 80% of employment opportunities in China, reflecting a decline in the vitality of the Chinese economy. Lawyer Wang in Beijing expressed it's related to the 3 years of control. Many normal economic activities have been interrupted, leading to economic problems, fund chain ruptures, and economic conflicts. More lawyers indicate a growing demand for legal services in society. Many around me have been affected by the economic downturn. Lawyer Wisen Shui in Guangdong told Epoch Times, "It's not that the increase in disputes is due to economic downturn. Rather, the number of people taking the bar exam is rising rapidly. This indicates that other industries are difficult to find employment in, and everyone is coming here because, like takeaway and ride-hailing, lawyers rely solely on themselves. Moreover, the legal industry is fierce, with fees and unit prices much lower than before." Rise in rights protection activities on the internet. On social media, there are frequent reports of wage claims, property handovers, and protests against layoffs. The Hong Kong-based non-governmental organization China Labor Bulletin collected data from social media revealing that from July 1, 2023 to January 22, 2024, there were a total of 1,199 incidents of employees or migrant workers protesting wage arrears, mainly in the construction and manufacturing industries. During the same period, CLB also recorded 1,011 incidents of employees or migrant workers seeking help, with the main reason being unpaid wages, primarily in the construction and manufacturing sectors. Analysts believe that the reason many workers or migrant workers choose protests over legal action in cases of layoffs or unpaid wages is due to the Chinese Communist Party's government's failure to fulfill its responsibilities. Dong Baohua, a professor at East China Normal University Law School, stated in an interview with Economic Observer Net that when faced with labor disputes, people choose to protect their rights through online public opinion instead of legal channels due to cost considerations. The cost of personal legal rights protection is relatively high, with little obvious benefit. Under China's one trial, two appeals system, the process for individuals in labor disputes is even more time-consuming than general civil dispute resolution. In contrast, online public opinion rights protection has lower costs and sometimes achieves more noticeable results. Regarding the reluctance of involuntarily unemployed individuals to receive government unemployment benefits, Dong Baohua explained that unemployment benefits are usually 70% of the local minimum wage, with a low amount and cumbersome procedures. Individuals may not care much about unemployment benefits, focusing more on the higher economic compensation from the company or even double economic compensation. Dong Baohua said that during the 2008-2009 financial crisis, the U.S. government spent heavily on unemployment benefits, with about 2.6 million people claiming benefits in 2009. In contrast, in 2008 and 2009, the number of people claiming unemployment benefits in China dropped by 8.7% and 10% year-on-year. In terms of dealing with economic crises, China's unemployment insurance has not played a role at all, he said. Yanning, a human rights lawyer in Washington, D.C., expressed to Epoch Times that China's judicial system is particularly dark. People feel they have no way to sue, and they may not afford the high litigation fees. The legal fees do not only refer to the regular fees and filing fees charged by the court, but mainly the lawyer fees. Ordinary workers do not have specialized legal knowledge to go to court. If they want to hire a lawyer, they simply cannot afford it. So people in China understand very well. They would rather choose public opinion. These dark forces in China are relatively afraid of public opinion. If the dark secrets are exposed, they will face investigations from above and even reveal some major problems. Yanning said, some of the labor rights protection laws enacted by China are increasingly inclined to protect employers rather than workers. Even if the legal procedures in China appear equal, there is no equal right in practice, not to mention that China's laws themselves are unequal. Tough times ahead in 2024. In recent years, almost all sectors of society have been scrutinized by the authorities, from the catering and tourism industry during the epidemic control period to real estate, finance, internet technology, education and training, healthcare, gaming industry, etc. This has led to pay cuts, layoffs, unemployment, and bankruptcies in various industries. Mr. Q in Guangxi had a restaurant before the epidemic, which closed during the 3 years. Surviving has become challenging for him. Now there are street vendors everywhere, selling snacks, barbecue, fruits, and vegetables. When the urban management comes, all these mobile vendors move away. Living like this every month is exhausting. Mr. Q told Epoch Times that the house he now lives in is the only one his family owns. Unable to repay the loan, it was repossessed by the bank and turned into a foreclosed property. The house has been sealed and all bank cards have been frozen. He sees this as a popular uprising against the authorities. Now the house prices have dropped significantly. The foreclosure has been discounted twice, and it can't be sold even at 80% off each time. Now, with legal fees, arbitration, execution, breach of contract, and other costs, totaling more than 70,000 yuan, I owe more than 162,000 yuan. It has now become more than 220,000 yuan. Mr. Q, I consulted 2 lawyers. One said that the house prices have dropped significantly and cannot be auctioned off, while the other lawyer said they don't care about the lives of ordinary people, auctioning it cheaply and still owing money to the bank. In 2024, major real estate companies such as Evergrande and Country Garden are constantly facing debt crises, and China's asset management giant Greenland Group has gone bankrupt. The collapse of the middle class, whose wealth is tied to real estate and investments, is evident. The departure of foreign companies has also left many people over 40 unemployed. Commenting on the situation, netizens remarked that those with assets above 2 million yuan are being harvested by trust, those with wealth above 200,000 yuan by financial management, those with stocks above 20,000 yuan by stocks, those with funds above 2,000 yuan by funds, and those with lottery winnings above 2 yuan by lotteries. Aptly said, "I feel that most people around me are preparing for tough times. Now it's indeed very practical. Everyone is not willing to spend easily. Among the people around me, the feeling is that 2023 is at least slightly better than 2022, the epidemic control period. But now everyone is prepared, and 2024 will be tough."